And then, and this is you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you read that part, this part.
So on my 2019 reread of Service posts, I started in 2019, and the gist is I just post 6 pages from a phone book, and usually it's Soto voice, so it's just the pages, no commentary from me. There might be the rigmarole at the end. I used to jump around, but then it was just all High Society. And High Society, it's 500 pages, but it's 6 pages per post. You'd think, well, yeah, that's like a year. Yeah, I mean, I only did it, it's a, hey, I don't want to do the blog today. Quick, 6 pages from Service.
Right, right.
I started Exodus, did the first 6 pages, and then I decided to circle back and do the first phone book. And this, because I'm starting at page 1 of issue 1, when I get to the end of an issue, if there's a fill-in story, then I do the fill-in story. Or at least I link to it if it's already posted. So I just did Demon Horn, because Demon Horn probably was posted, but then probably wasn't posted. I couldn't find it easily, and I'm like, okay, I'll just do it. And as I said in my intro to the post, because I posted, it was a Monday, so the Monday report went up there, and so then moving on, it was, then, you can disagree with me if you want, but at the end of issue 5, Service is heading to Est. The next issue starts with him in Est, which means this story can only take place after number 5 and before number 6. Dave, years ago on the Yahoo group, said that this story takes place after number 6, but Service leaves Est at the end of 6, and in this story, as you're about to see when I finally shut up, Service is on his way to Est. This is where the series starts to become seriously less episodic and has less holes in the continuity. And the holes there have been up to this point aren't that big. Dave has always said he was very aware of the holes in Conan continuity and consciously kept Service continuity as tight as possible, which meant that if he finished an issue and was asked to do another story, he would set it on the heels of the previous story and continue into the next issue. See how Passage fits in between numbers 3 and 4. Something he stuck to until around issue 80 when Gerhard showed up. I think Dave had enough continuity that he felt he could play around without screwing everything up. Plus, at the end of number 5, Service doesn't have the black vest, and in number 6 he does. And as you're about to see, here he doesn't have it. This story has to take place between 5 and 6. And then in the comments, I got black vest first appears in number 4, so question is, does it temporarily point for number 5 and Demon Horn? Is there somewhere Service conceals it, like in the lining of his bat cape or a secret compartment in his medallions? Eddie.
I love that. Sorry, go ahead.
To which I replied, sorry, Eddie, black vest first appears in Passage. Anyway, my question is, I don't even remember. Was past Dave ordering the Service miscellany, quote, on the fly, unquote?
It's actually a very short answer to that, which is if Cerebus was in a city or going to a city, this was his idea of how to dress up as a city dweller. You don't just walk in with nothing on but medallions and carrying your sword. Put a vest on.
Okay.
And definitely, if I did say years ago on the Yahoo group said that this takes place after number 6, that's one of those. Dave Sim doesn't often use the term "I misspoke." I definitely misspoke. I knew better than that because as soon as I picture Demon Horn, it's like Demon Horn ends, and then number 5 picks up in the Red Marches. So it's I must have been thinking of something else and just completely wrong.
Well,
and
knowing the way the Yahoo group went, they sent you a list of every non phone book story went where, this is the order we think they're in, or this is the alphabetical order, you sort them into the correct order. And it's like, even I have trouble sometimes going, well, this one could be fit here, but it could also fit there, and yeah, like I said, the continuity was pretty tight, so usually there's very few where there's wiggle room. I think A Night on the Town is one of the ones that, that can fit pre-number 1, in between the first 7 issues, maybe into the Pal New trilogy if you really want to, it's Service drunk on the town. There's a lot of nights where he was drunk on the town.
Right.
But it does involve a winter scene and snow, so that kind of, it'll slot in between 2 issues, but it's got to be 2 issues when it was cold. The morning after, and this is just Matt, and I freely admit it's my opinion, I'm just one of 8 billion people on the planet, but in the story, Service uses paper crowns, and paper crowns didn't exist before the beginning of High Society, which means that story has to take place after High Society, before Church and State.
Aha!
But back in the Yahoo days, it was, it's another drunk Service story. It can fit in anywhere. It's like, except that there's that one niggly little detail that, the scholarly squirrels who have ripped apart every issue of all 300 issues to get the complete illustrated Service journal with all of his powers and what issue they appeared in, what panel on what page. The obsessive compulsives who look at Margaret and go, "You wimp."
Right. Yeah, I got to tell you, that's very gratifying as a creator that is the case. That it's not okay. We're all done with that. What else are we going to talk about here? There's hair splitting, and then splitting the split hairs, and then finding another hair that we can split a different way and look at from a different angle. Somebody could possibly even put together a fanzine of that. What are the top 10 Cerebus things where you go, could be this, could be this, could be this, and I will freely confess, even Dave Sim couldn't give you the definitive answer on it. Much as I would like to, and much as I devoted 26 years of my life trying to keep those things from happening. If those are the only things that happen where there's evidence for this, and there's evidence for this, and there's evidence for this, then all you can do is say it's somewhere on a Venn diagram meeting place of these things.
The one that hits me in the head every time I see it, and I never ask about it because I know the answer. The answer is yes. Did Service have the medallion and the sword before number 5? That if he had also had the helmet, then the statue would have come to life. And the answer is yes, of course he had to. But then it's like, but in issue number 8, he gets captured by the Captains, and at one point they hand him a sword, and it's not toned when they hand it to him, but once he gets it, it is toned because it's easier to do it that way. And it's like, and he has that sword for the rest until he loses it with the cockroach, and then he gets it back in 36. It's like, so was the sword in 5 the right sword, or was it not the right sword, or did they hand him his own sword? And then my brain goes, there's a simple explanation, but the part that knows what pouch on his utility belt Batman carries what goes, no, this is a real question. You need to ask and get an answer to it. It's like, no, you don't. Go out and find girls, dummy.
Well, the answer on that one is that I did have the concept at the time that anything that Cerebus carried or held for any length of time would turn into a Cerebus tone thing, particularly in the weaponry thing, which obviously I abandoned that after a while because, he hangs on to Missy for a long time, and she doesn't go all LT3 in all of the appearances where he's sitting out in front of Dino's Cafe. I don't know if it was, okay, I abandoned that, or that was a characteristic that Cerebus had that he didn't have past the very, very earliest issues. And no idea where it was that, no, if you, at a specific point, if he picked up a random sword or picked up something and carried it for a while, no, it didn't go tone on him. But I remember thinking, well, that's an idea. That's maybe at least fodder for a good gag somewhere up ahead, like Cerebus smells bad when he's wet, which I would revisit from time to time.
Well, I know in...
You
see, this is the part where Minutia Matt's going, but what about... No. Save it for next month, because what if there's no questions next month?
That's right. We're always in dread of that. Hey, I got to tell you, this Do Cartoon Mice Dream of Animated Cheese? This is one of the best things you've ever done.
It took a year.
Did it?
I came up with the idea when Steve Peters put Mickey in a Comicverse story on the 2nd of January a year ago. Mickey went public domain, and Steve celebrated by putting Mickey in the first panel of a Comicverse story that he was running a Kickstarter, and part of it was if you suggested a panel for this upcoming story, you could buy it on the Kickstarter. And
right.
So he was doing a Kickstarter, and he put up Mickey, and I'm like, I want to do something with Mickey. And like I said in the facts, everybody's going to go with Mickey at the steering wheel of the boat because that's the famous Steamboat Willie image. And it's so famous, Disney uses it as the logo for Walt Disney Animation now. So if you go see a Disney animated movie, it starts with Mickey at the wheel whistling, and it's like a 5-6 second clip, but it's enough to where it's a trademark now. So if you use it, you're not infringing on a public domain copyright. It's legal trademark, and Superman bursting the chains, you're going to get a visit from a lawyer.
That's right.
And
that's right.
I'm pretty sure that's how Walt Disney Animation was trying to get Steamboat Willie to stay out of the public domain forever. So I watched Steamboat Willie when it went public domain, going, there's got to be another image of Mickey. And at the very end of the short, Pegleg Pete grabs Mickey, and he's not even a peg leg yet. He still has both feet in that short, which really makes me question what happens in the shorts that are going public domain this year, because Mickey gets the gloves this year in the public domain, and he talks for the first time and is now in the public domain, and I'm assuming he mangles a giant cat, so he has a peg leg now.
Right.
Right. At the end, Mickey, because Mickey's doing Mickey things the whole short, playing playing animals as musical instruments, which the more I watch this short, the more I'm like, I get the original Mickey was kind of a jerk, but the ASPCA has not come out with a statement of, now that he's in the public domain, someone needs to teach that mouse a lesson.
I think so. I think so.
So at the very end, Pete grabs him, because he's not working on the boat, he's just goofing around, and throws him in by the potato bin, and Mickey's, got this sad, melancholy look, and I went, that's perfect. That's the image I'm going to use. And then, like lightning, it was Roy Batty's death speech from Blade Runner, which was written by Rutger Hauer. The story of that scene in Blade Runner is kind of epic. Of They're filming the movie. It's 1 a.m. It's a night shoot. Like, everybody's tired. At 3 a.m, the studio is firing Ridley Scott off the project because he's over budget. They want the movie, and they want it now. And so they're filming Rutger Hauer's character's death scene, and they take a break for, like, lunch, and Rutger goes back to his trailer and rewrites what he's supposed to say, because there was a script, but it wasn't working. They filmed it a couple times. You know, it was really wordy. It was hard to say. And so they're about to shoot again, and one of the PAs comes up to Ridley Scott and says, "Hey, Rutger wants to try something else. He wrote this. Can he do it?" And Ridley Scott, who's looking at his watch going, "I'm 2 hours away from losing my job and my movie." You know, he's pulling his hair out, going insane, and he goes, "Whatever, fine." And they do it, and even the writer of the script went, "That's a much better version of this," and like, it's iconic, and it's very pathos, and I'm like, that is Mickey delivering that scene to me is just amazing. And so for a year I'm going, okay, how am I going to do this? And I found the image, and I'm like, okay, and then I turned it blue, so it's a blue line. I'm like, okay, and I'm gonna trace it and then copy it onto the artwork. No. And then like, I'm busy, and you know, I can't do it this weekend, and I'm working and all this. And finally it was like, okay, I did a blue line and just made 13 boxes. And the other one is, I found a first printing of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, Philip K. Dick's book that Blade Runner's based off of. I found the cover on the internet and went, it's this really weird spirally logo. I'm like, I like that. So now I'm going to trace this and figure out how to change the letters to what I want it to be. And when I finally sat down to do it, I'm like, you know, I can just go into Photoshop and copy the letters because they're all there except for the S. And so I Frankensteined it, printed it out, inked it, and went, this looks amazing. And
it does.
Which leads to Steve Peters' question.
Steve Peters' question, which is, as you say, anyway, when I shared it on Facebook, our friend Steve Peters asked me, I don't know if you were on the CC for Dave's fax to me on May 24th, but he was saying, quote, if Wally Wood were still alive, I think he would add to, quote, never draw what you can copy, never copy what you can trace, never trace what you can clip out and paste down, never clip out and paste down what you can scan digitally, repeat, and strip word balloons into, unquote. Seems apropos here. To which you replied,
as I draw 18 copies of the same panel.
And I got to say, well, okay, Steve, if you're going to drag me into this, there are gold standards on this, and I would cite as a gold standard Strange Death of Alex Raymond, pages 62 and 63, which is Carson Grubaugh drawing the comic store manager, Jack Van Dyke, in one position in the comic store, staring for X number of panels, and just thinking in a handful of the panels, each of those panels was hand-drawn by Carson Grubaugh. He considered it a rite of passage for him. I could just copy them. I could blue line them. The whole spectrum of things that you can do. But no, I will never do this again. But I'm going to draw each of these little Jack Van Dykes and each detail of the comic store around her, and it's amazing. And from what I understand, Carson sold all of his artwork for the on the SDOAR Carson's version Kickstarter. So somebody owns that page, and whoever owns that page, you literally got Carson Grubaugh's blood and flesh and tears in your hands. Whatever you paid for it, you underpaid for it.
I remember.
And I've got to say that, citing myself as an example, this is one of the reasons that I'm doing Strange Death of Alex Raymond the way that I'm doing it, which is a lot of repeating images, but redrawing the images. The recently released, I know I had Rolly email them to you, Strange Death of Alex Raymond 283 and 285, where I'm actually drawing the mock-ups because the image of Ward Green with his trophy wife Edith just wasn't clear, and all of the native outrigger canoe stuff was too dark, and I knew exactly what I wanted it to look like, so I'm going to take a try at getting it to look this way. Didn't like the Ward Green that I did on 283, but love the Ward Green that I did on 285, even though they're both done from the same bad photograph. And that's one of the satisfactions that I have. The same as early in Strange Death of Alex Raymond, I have the panel of the Margaret Mitchell proxy, Miss Mitchell, from My Little Runaway, saying, but if Valerie's run away, it's my fault, and doing it all these different sizes and different perspectives. And that's a pleasure to me. Not only working in the photorealism styles that I admire so much, but going, okay, before I'm done, I want to do that panel again, because I've got one. There's ones of it that I go, like that one, got all of the ball on that one. Not crazy about this one, and that's just an individual artist's satisfaction. That there are things where you go, yeah, might as well just stat all of this stuff, cut it out and paste it down, do it digitally. But there are other things that, no, as an artist, you decide that for yourself. And that applies to Steve Peters too, that he mostly draws stuff that a lot of times he could get away with faking it or copying it. But he are an artist,